Oh, come on! Check out my new gun, Snare!
That is a nice gun, Lee. Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another review from Overbite Gaming. I am the majestic Snare.
And I am the lovely Lee.
The lovely Lee.
Lovely Lee.
But today we bring you a review of The Division, as in Tom Clancy's The Division.
As in Ubisoft's The
Yes,
Division.
Yes. So what is very interesting about this game is the fact that Lee is a hard and fast Ubisoft hater.
And I'm going to hell because, spoiler alert, I quite like this game.
So we'll get into the review as a bit more detail here, but I thought it was very important to note that fact. I am indifferent to Ubisoft. They have harmed me in the past, but in general, you know, I'm okay with Ubisoft games. They have done some good games, they've done some bad games, they've done some bad practices, etc. But overall, I'm not too bothered by them, whereas Lee...
I hate their guts.
Indeed. So The Division is a game, obviously by Ubisoft, about a particular group of operatives that get activated after a
Viral outbreak
pandemic.
in New York.
Yeah, on some dollar bills.
At Christmassy time.
Yeah, so everyone is absolutely fucked.
And frozen.
So this game takes you into a storyline based on you basically clearing out the city.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone to hell. There's lots of dead people. There's lots of infected zones. There's all these gangs that are looting and rioting and stuff. And you just shoot them all in the face.
There are a number of different factions you can find in the city based on classic New York type, or archetypes I suppose.
Yeah, them fucking flamethrower lads in New York are a right nightmare.
They're called the Cleaners. So I think they are waste removal men who have taken it upon themselves to eradicate the virus by burning everything.
And everyone.
Yeah, so if you vaguely look like you might be contaminated, you will be burnt or shot, but generally burnt.
Or shot then burnt.
But yeah, these guys are just one of the faction types you come across as the NPCs you'll be facing in the game. As you might expect of this kind of game, it is a shooter, but it's very cover based.
Yes.
And actually the cover based shooting works really well. It
does work quite well. I mean, it's at the point where it's such a cliche to have cover-based shooting, but it's cover-based shooting, as we like to say, done right.
It's easy to get it wrong.
It is. It's super easy.
It's very easy to move between actual cover points. It's very easy to shoot from sort of not point blank, from blank fire. Blind fire. Over the top of the cover, which works well as well.
Yeah, which is strange because usually blind fire is just waste of ammo, but in this, because you have things that have to charge you, because they've only got melee weapons, works nicely just to keep them off or put them down. And
it's, as always, beautifully satisfying when you can pull off a massively cool headshot.
And the sound it makes is quite satisfying.
But the sound does annoy me slightly, because if you're playing with headphones, then if you manage to get a headshot, you get this kind of sound, but it sounds like it's coming at you, so it kind of is off-putting. You think, who's shooting at me? Because that sounded quite close.
Sounds like me on a Saturday morning.
But this game is, for all intents and purposes, a game done kind of good. I'm trying to be, balanced. Come on, Lee, let it out, dude. Let it out.
I like this game.
Which is a big thing for Lee. Let's just support him for a moment. Yeah, you don't like Ubisoft games in general. I know that.
They're all recycled, rehashed nonsense that aren't coded very well.
Yeah, the optimization is pretty good.
It is.
I'll let you talk about that as being a PC baron.
Being a PC baron, indeed. My rig's got a relatively decent graphics card, but the RAM and the CPU on it's not that great. But I was able to run it at 1440, all the bells and whistles on, and got about between 40 and 45 frames a second. It's not the 60 we're looking for, but on 1440 with the graphics and CPU, it's excusable performance. So yeah, it's not badly optimized, and it's very scalable. You can take a lot of things down and actually get that frame rate right up there, even on lesser hardware.
Yeah, and I have noticed it's fairly consistent with that frame rate as well. So what you'll find is, if you are only getting 45 to 50 frames or 50 to 60 frames, it will roughly stay between those marks. So I've been playing on PC for a change because I wanted to stream it as well and have some fun with friends. But I've really enjoyed playing it. I've really enjoyed the visual side of this game. I know you've got some issues with that, but I think the visual stuff, there's even just random tiny bits that make you think they've thought about putting this in. It's got nothing to do with the gameplay, it's got nothing to do with the story, it's just in the background. You know, I know this game has been delayed for a long time, so maybe they had some time to fuck about with tiny little things, but there are dogs running about and you can find a couple of them shitting now and again.
And you can shoot them.
Yes, I don't like shooting dogs. I like dogs. When I played with him online,
I shot every dog I found.
No need to panic. I'll tell you when to panic.
Did you just shoot the dog? You fucking asshole.
yes, you did, didn't you?
Well, I was doing a service because they're wild, they're feral, they're going to get a taste of human meat sooner or later, so may as well put them down now while they're not attacking us.
It's not how things work, dude.
Doesn't my brain.
So let's talk about sort of how the story progresses and what you found about the actual story based of the game.
Yeah, the story's quite good. It's nothing amazing. You've obviously been activated as this agent to come in and clean up the city and help out. And you start off with nothing. You get base of operations, and by completing the story missions, you get points to sort of upgrade the different wings of it, which gives you perks and extra skills that you can use. And it's really nicely done. And you can just walk over to an area that you've just upgraded, and there'll be like this brief audio blurb about what it is and what it does and why it's good to have it.
Yeah, in a two-tone kind of way. So when you get your wings of your base of operations increased, you get a real-world example, like, oh, that'd be good for communications, people need to know what's going on. But then with that particular piece, you'll get a number of different perks, talents, and attributes you can use. So some are passive, some are active, and you can select to use whichever you like in-game. And some are just passive and they'll just happen behind the scenes. So in the actual game, you'll have 2 slots, I think, to start off with.
2 slots, yeah.
To have 2 particular skills. You can very early on in the game, you can get a pulse, which basically lights up stuff near you, and basically shows you where enemies are if they are close enough to you. Which
also increases your critical chances.
Yes, it does if you found them. Yeah, if you tagged them. It's really, really handy. I would advise getting that as soon as possible, which you can do. But it's really helpful for those moments where you think someone is behind some cover and you can't see them. It will tell you if they're behind the cover or in the next street type thing. So if they are kind of further away. The other one you can get quite early on, I think, is
there's 2.
Sticky Bomb.
Sticky Bomb. Yeah, the Sticky Bomb.
A Sticky Bomb. But that one is really, really handy for anyone that's sort of coming at you. It's quite a powerful detonation bomb that you have to detonate after you've placed on an area, person or surface. And I didn't use it a lot. I kind of got bored with it. My particular favourite in terms of bombs are the cluster running bombs. I can't remember what they're actually called. But there's these little bombs you can literally throw into an area and it will seek out an enemy. And then it'll find the enemy, explode, and then a cloud of like cluster bombs will explode around them as well. So you get like a double impact. It's really good, and you can get multiples as it mods up.
And the third skill you can get is a ballistic shield. And what this does is it basically gives you a shield which gives you cover from the front, but you can only use your sidearm. So it's kind of a big trade-off. So I didn't really go for that one very much, especially as there's like waist-high walls every bloody way.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the actual gameplay of the main game is more than enough to keep you going for 20, 30, 40 hours probably. I mean, I've been playing for about 25 hours, well, actually more than that, about 30 hours, and I've got some way into the story, but it's nicely levelled out, so the areas you play in will be leveled, not capped, you can go into it at any time, but there will be enemies with skulls above their head and you can't even think to try and kill them. Or take a hell of a lot of firepower from you to kill them.
Well, you can think, but that's about it.
The other part of this game, obviously, is the PvP area called the Dark Zone, which, as a shooter, I was a bit reticent about it.
I am still a bit reticent about it.
But Lee doesn't like playing with people, so it's a bit of a different kettle of fish.
I'd rather play with myself. Wait.
Yeah, both are true. But anyway, the PvP area called Dark Zone is really, really interesting. I was streaming when I first went into the Dark Zone and got accosted thank you, Lee, and got accosted by 3 guys of another squad with the what did they say to me? Oh yes, Snare Van Damme, come join our adventure. And I thought, this is weird, but they haven't shot me yet, let's go with it. And the other guy that had run into the area with me, running off into the distance, they just gunned him down, and we became rogue, and that was fun.
And you had to hide in a sewer.
After killing a lot of people, picking up a lot of loot, and extracting that loot, which is the other thing you have to do in the dark zone. So the better gear you get is going to be available in the dark zone, generally. It's a bit of an RNG kind of system of loot for drops. You can kill some big named baddies and get some half decent loot, but you can also go into the dark zone and everything seems to be blue and purple, which are the higher tiers of items.
Yeah, the thing about items is that, so you get a gun and it has a damage per second. You're like, oh, that's better than the one I've got. And then you look at because these items, they buff your skills as well. So it buffs either your DPS, your health, or the powers the power you have that fuel your talents. And you might be going, okay, I'm going to be like a talent-based build. I'm going to have like really strong this. I'm going to blow people up. I'm going to haywire them and stuff like this. And then you'll get the gun. Oh, good DPS. And then you'll look, and it just tanks your power level on your skills sort of over your previous gun, even though your previous gun did less damage. So you're kind of like.
Yeah, the problem with this kind of analysis and building up weapons and gear and stuff is that the menus are fucking terrible. The user interface of like inventory management, skill management, all that stuff, it's absolutely atrocious. It just feels so cobbled together. Everything's there, you need to be there, it's just not in a way that makes it easy.
Yeah, I mean, we both played on mouse and keyboard, and it's like you just think you'd click on stuff, but no, you got to double click it, and it's not a good double click either. It's a bit twitchy, so you end up pressing space. So you highlight with the mouse, press space. Highlight with the mouse, press space.
Yeah, and like to junk stuff, you have to select and then push a key, and then go somewhere else and push a key. You want to select a mark. It feels really messy. Not to go into too many minutiae of the menus, but they work. I'll give them that. They work. You know, haven't had any problems in the menus. It's just the user interface could be improved big style.
Yeah, definitely. It's another thing I like about it is the ability to mod your weapons.
Yes,
you get a lot of different mods, and depending on the weapon you have, they have different slots, and you have different sizes of mods for like rifles or assault rifles, and then handguns and things like that. But that's actually a really nice sort of twist on it. And you get different levels of them as well, so their benefits increase. So you might have a silencer on your sniper rifle, and then you'll get a better silencer which draws less threat. So it's really well done. I really like that aspect, but it's buried behind a butt ton of these horrible menus.
And also, quick Easter egg tip for you: if you are ever in a place where you have too much loot and you can't fit any more in your backpack, if you are holding any mods, they take up one inventory space as well as a gun does. So put the mod on a gun, free up a space.
Absolutely, good tip.
Tip from Snare to you. So inside the PvP area, just to cap off our discussion on that, the way to get loot out of the PvP area, you can't just walk out with it, because that makes all the items you're carrying from the dark zone disappear and get destroyed. You must go to an extraction point and attach your little yellow pod you'd be carrying around on your back to this rope. You then have 90 seconds to fight off enemies and anyone else trying to come and steal your stuff.
So it's kind of like a Kinder Surprise.
Yeah. You have 90 seconds to survive, and if you obviously die, someone else can come along to that rope, pick it up, put it back on, I believe, and then they'll take that loot from you, and you won't get it. When you die in the PvP area in the dark zone, you will lose equivalent amounts of experience, storage keys, and other stuff. Some of your loot, I think, or something like that. And if you are going around shooting other players, you become rogue, and therefore if you die during your rogue status, which it's only temporary, you will lose more stuff. So it's a bit of a gamble. You can get stuff easy by nicking it off other people, but the risk is much higher as well.
Yeah, it's not just a PvP area either. It's an area that allows PvP, but there are AI enemies in there, and they're all hella tough. It's definitely designed for cooperative play in there.
Yeah, and I'd actually suggest that the main story is also built for co-op play, which is nice. I think it's been balanced really well in the sense that you can play this game completely solo, story-wise, and nip into the multiplayer area and still be on your own, technically. Or you can play with friends. I've played with a couple of people now, and been in the squad, and it's fun. It really, really is fun, no matter what you're doing, multiplayer or story mode.
Yeah, for instance, I was having major problems with this story mode mission where you had this big guy with a flamethrower and he was armoured up the ass, and he was just basically walking through my fire and sticking his flamethrower in my ear on, toasting my brain. And then I had like, I think 9 tries at it. I'm sure Snare will put a montage of appropriately depressing deaths behind us.
Thanks for giving me your editing work.
You're
mate.
welcome. I thought you'd like that. And then I tried it again with Snare, and we just nailed the shit out of him.
It felt easy.
Both ends. Both ends.
We double-ended the flamethrower. No, that we really didn't. That sounds terrible. But no, I mean, we are singing this game's praises. I think that's pretty clear by now. I think there are some parts that could be improved, like the menus. But, I mean, to me, this is a follow-on from Watch Dogs. It really feels watchdoggy. Some of the little bits, like when you're sending out your pulse to find out enemies, and the kind of the line vector drawings you get on characters and stuff, it just had a feel of Watch Dogs. And with the music was very Watchdog-y. It wasn't the same style, but it was the same thing.
I think the music for me is very like any sort of like action movie. Yes, it's like down.
And it does change when things are happening, which
It's
I like.
dynamic.
Yeah.
But it's competent, but you've heard it so much in movies and other games like it, like, you know, other Tom Clancy games have a lot of the same sort of music in.
Yeah, I should have pointed that out. This is the first Tom Clancy game I've actually played. So
I don't know what's wrong with him either, don't worry.
but coming to it fresh, I would buy another Tom Clancy game off this. I really would.
Marvellous. Perhaps you could try Rainbow Six Vegas. That's another excellent cover shooter game, and it's also much harder in the original because you don't take many dead bullets to die. You really do not.
Let us know down in the comments if you want us to review that game.
Or at least play it, because it's donkey's years old.
Well, we can still do a review.
We'll review it if you want.
If people want, we come to do what people like to do.
I already own it, so at least I don't have to buy anything, so that's cool.
Yeah, it'd be me buying it instead. It's fine. But yeah, I think this game does draw on a lot of other games, but manages to do it a lot better. Quite a lot of reviewers have likened this. Excuse me, I'm talking.
Sorry.
A lot of people have likened this game to things like some facets of Destiny, with the grind and the loot and the random generator.
I think Destiny is the obvious one to compare it to, because it's kind of like a faux MMO as well, in the fact that they've taken an MMO and crossed it with another game style, in this case a third-person shooter over a first-person shooter. So it is the game that it will definitely be compared to most, but I like it a fuck ton more than I like Destiny.
Destiny was a victim of its own fucking hype and stuff that happened at the studio. It was Bungie after all. But this game does come down to the fact that, okay, they're not the pioneer of doing this game recently. They are probably one of the pioneers of doing this kind of game in the past. I'm not going to be that stupid and say that. But they're standing on the shoulders of other games and doing it better, and people remember it for that. So Destiny was you know, the biggest gripe everyone has in Destiny, maybe now, but definitely back in the day, was the loot and the unfairness of the loot and the randomness of the loot. And this does have a little bit of that.
Yeah,
but it's easier to get higher level items if you go in the right places. So it's balanced. The risk and reward is a bit closer connected, which I think is really, really important. The actual multiplayer aspect is done so much better. In Destiny, there was no real way. Well, I'll say there was no way in the game to actually find people to play with. You were match made and pushed together, and even then it wasn't great. In this game, if you're in the PvP area, you can have proximity chat. So if you are near some other players, like I said earlier, they spoke to me and I was like, what's going on? You know, I wasn't expecting proximity chat to work.
Yeah, it's not a case like in Destiny where you dance at someone to try and get them to come with you. You can actually communicate. Yeah,
and it's really, really cool that although the proximity chat and the in-game chat is pretty clear and nice and cool, one problem I do have is the audio mixing is absolutely terrible. What I've found is that the microphone levels of people I've played with are really quiet, and I've had to reduce down the game volume down to like 5% just to be able to hear them over gunshots, explosions and all sorts.
Yeah, the one thing I didn't like very much about it is it's an unreasonable complaint, because We did do some capture of Snare and I playing together, and we were both using voice chat, but it only picks up obviously his because it's not throughputting what I'm saying as well. So it's an unreasonable complaint, but it would have been nice to be able to capture both sides of the conversation. Now it's just Snare going, "Stop shooting dogs, what's wrong with you?"
Yeah, and what you can't hear is Lee squealing because he's so scared and running away.
One thing I will say is it did have some issues at launch. They were fixed relatively quickly, so I don't think Snare actually experienced any of them. It was that quick. I tried it in the morning, he tried it in the evening, and they were fixed.
Yeah, no problems for me.
I think the Americans got a bit more of a worse issue because as soon as America went live, the servers tanked because they got just hammered. They had that fixed by the time it went live in this country, which is good old England. What was that?
Don't know. I was about to start humming a national anthem, and then I realised I was about to start humming the American national anthem.
Okay, that's
because it was going to be and that's obviously American.
We've just lost any American subscribers we've had.
I'm pretty sure we've done worse to get rid of people.
Yes, but one of the things I did notice, it's when I first started playing, I had troubles getting it running. That's fine. Managed to get it going on like the third time of asking. And then I did like the little opening bit where you run to the safe house, talk to somebody, and then you have to log into a computer. Now, the logging into a computer is a bit infamous because you've got people queuing because they actually have a physical presence in the game, so you can't just push through somebody and use the computer. I didn't have that exact problem. I was able to get to the computer, type on the computer, and it did fuck all. So I was like, I got like 20 minutes before I have to actually get ready for work. You're not gonna, no, I'll just leave it there then. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have that problem at all of doing nothing. But yeah, by the time I was playing, the whole world was playing, and I don't understand why you have an instance with a single fucking computer if you're going to let 20 people or so arrive in this instance. I was literally fighting to get in front of the computer, and as you would have seen in our skit, that's exactly how it was, where people were literally trying, their arms were bending in weird ways to kind of do this on the computer. It was just weird, absolutely weird.
Wiggling your fingers at me.
But it was the one part, I reckon that's going to be a thing for years to come. People are going to remember that bit.
Yeah, it was almost exquisitely British how they decided to form queues.
Yeah, I walked in there one day because I had to go back and complete some missions back in that area, and there was literally people stood there just waiting, but there was some people waiting, and then everyone else was like, fuck this, and getting up front and inside the actual trying to push in and use the computer. But didn't you tell me the other day that they fixed that with a 3-second rule or something?
Yeah, basically now if you run into somebody for 3 seconds, you go through them. This isn't a response to the lining up computer thing, this is a response to people blocking doorways, because the doorways are big enough for one character. If you stand there, no one can get by you.
So well done to Ubisoft or whoever actually pushed the button and typed the code. But for actual fixing that is a good thing. So well done.
I mean, it's incredible, isn't it, when you actually put a bit of effort into the game, come up with something a bit original.
Have enough time to do it.
See how well it sells. You know, maybe you want to take that on board for future games and not find yourself like really tanking your stock.
By 10% in a day.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Weird.
Yeah. But Ubisoft, I have to have my hat taken off to you. Well done. Thank you for producing a game that really has made me enjoy gaming for that time that I was spending my time with your product. And to everyone else who's thinking about getting it, why have you taken so long? I mean, I know we've taken so long to get the review out, but Jesus, you should have had this already.
I'm not quite as glowing because I have this thing where I'm thinking I went in with such devastatingly low expectations. If it was anything but a total piece of shit, I would have liked it.
No, I really do think it's a good game. I'm wondering whether it's actually going to be like anywhere near Game of the Year. I don't think it's close to that. But I do think it's got a lot of merit. It's got a lot of gameplay time in it. So bang for your buck, really good. It's selling for £40 on Steam, I think.
Yeah.
Season passes and expansions have already been announced, and what's going to be coming in those.
Yeah, and that's a bit dodgy because you're going to get access to certain events and stuff if you are a season pass holder.
I don't have a massive problem with that. I mean, I haven't actually seen what the price of the season pass is.
It's probably like another $20, $30.
Yeah,
pounds
but the thing is, they've got agreed DLC for, you know, not years, it's like months. So there's like a full expansion. I think there's a winter expansion, and in like the year 1 there's 3, maybe 4. So there's a lot of content that you would get in part of that season pass. They've taken a long time and delayed this game. Well done, because it's produced a good product. I've had a lot of good times playing with people, and that's what games are all about at the end of the day, having fun.
Yeah, I think the place where we agree is this is certainly better than any of Ubisoft's recent offerings, such as Primal, even the last Assassin's Creed, which was a jump up. This is definitely better than that as well. So well done, Ubisoft. Don't fuck it up.
Please do that again.
Yes. Okay, I think that's about all we've got to say on The Division. If you'd be so kind to like, comment, subscribe, we always reply to comments, and if you have any ideas what you want to see on the channel, let us know as well. We're always willing to take a leap at something horrible. No platforming games, please, Jonathan.
Yes, guys, thank you for joining us to review. I've been Snare.
Lee?
That's a really nice short way of introducing yourself or saying goodbye. But guys, thank you for watching, and take care. We'll see you soon.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Check out my new gun, Snare.
That is a nice gun. Oh shit!
Neo.
You get really cool kind of dog tag type names, but you do actually feel a bit of affinity for your chaps or chapesses in your squad. And when they do die, I actually feel like I've lost someone because you've customised them a little bit. Sell for a couple of caps, but in this game you want the junk to actually kind of break down into stuff that you can use to build things in your settlement or your place that you want to build some houses and stuff, which is a new thing that they brought into Fallout 4.